All right, let's dive into one of science's greatest ghost stories. For almost 50 years now, a single, really powerful burst of data from deep space has just haunted scientific debate, and it's fueled our wildest imaginations. So, what was it? Why did we hear it? And how has it stayed a ghost in the machine all this time? It all comes down to this, right here. In August of 1977, a volunteer astronomer was just sifting through these massive stacks of computer printouts from the Big Ear radio telescope when he spotted this. Just this bizarre sequence. In a language of numbers and letters that represent signal strength, this was a shout from the cosmos.
The astronomer, his name was Jerry Amon, he was so completely floored by the intensity and the shape of this signal that he could only scrawl one word in red pen in the margin. Wow! And that single, totally spontaneous reaction is what gave this cosmic enigma its famous name.
So what exactly was this thing? This powerful, fleeting whisper? Well, it was a signal that was 30 times stronger than the background noise of space. It came from a very specific direction, and it lasted for a tantalizingly brief 72 seconds before it just vanished. The big question, the one that's puzzled scientists for decades, is simply why?
Okay, to really get the excitement here, we have to break down why this signal wasn't just another random blip of static. It was, in so many ways, the absolute perfect candidate for a message from, an intelligent source.
What's truly remarkable, and this is the crazy part, is that the signal perfectly matched what scientists had predicted an alien beacon might actually look like. I mean, it checked all the right boxes. It had the right frequency, the right profile, and it came from the right place. So let's break each one of those down.
First up, its frequency, 1420 megahertz. Now, physicists call this the hydrogen line. Since hydrogen is the most common element in the entire universe, the theory was that this quiet, protected frequency would be a kind of logical, universal watering hole for any intelligent species that wanted to send a message. And wouldn't you know it, the wow signal was parked right there.
Second, its profile. The signal's intensity rose, peaked, and then fell over exactly 72 seconds. Now, that's the precise amount of time the Big Ear telescope, which uses the Earth's rotation to scan the sky, would be aimed at a fixed point in deep space. This told them it probably wasn't some local glitch, but a real source, way out in the cosmos.
And finally, its location. The signal seemed to come from this quiet little corner of the galaxy, in the direction of the constellation Sagittarius. And here's the kicker. It was a region with no known stars or powerful natural phenomenon that could explain such a strong, focused broadcast. It was like a powerful shout coming from a totally empty room.
So this brings us to the central conflict of the whole story. The signal was perfect in every way but one. It was a ghost. It showed up once, then just vanished, leaving behind this enduring, really maddening silence.
Immediately after the discovery, and I mean for decades afterwards, astronomers pointed more and more powerful telescopes at that exact same patch of sky, just hoping, praying to hear it again. They ran over 50 different searches, and the result was always the same: absolute silence.
And that's the key question, isn't it? Does the silence mean the signal was just some 1 in a billion fluke? Or does it point to something else entirely? Maybe something about the very nature of our search?
Just remember, the signal only lasted for the 72 seconds the telescope happened to be pointed at it. We have no idea if it started 5 minutes earlier or ended 5 minutes later. All we have is this tiny, tiny slice of time.
And this is where it gets really mind-bending. Since the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, or SETI, began, it's estimated that we've spent only about 0.04% of the time actually listening to the cosmos. That's a staggeringly small number. Just think about that.
This analogy really puts it into perspective. The fact that we haven't heard the signal again might not prove it was rare. It could just prove how little we've actually been looking. And if we caught something this strange by pure chance, what else are we missing?
So where does that leave us? Well, we have two major narratives trying to explain this one-time event. Either it was a whisper from another intelligence, or it was a truly bizarre, but natural, cosmic hiccup. And this really gets to the heart of the whole debate.
On one hand, you've got a signal with all the hallmarks of an intentional beacon. But on the other, you have the search for a natural explanation. Now, early theories about comets passing by have been pretty much disproven, but a newer, much more exotic one has popped up. The most plausible natural explanation actually just came out in 2024. It suggests a super powerful flare from a magnetar, a type of dead star, could have struck a nearby hydrogen cloud, causing it to light up like a cosmic laser for a very short time. But here's the catch. This whole sequence of events is so rare, it's a phenomenon that has never been observed. So even the natural explanation requires an absolutely extraordinary event.
Ultimately, the WOW signal has become way more than just a data point. The way we choose to interpret its enduring silence, well, it might say more about our own hopes and fears than it does about the signal itself.
It really works like a perfect cosmic Rorschach test. For the public and for the hopeful among us, it remains that one tantalizing piece of evidence, that ghost in the machine, hinting that maybe, just maybe, we're not alone after all. But for many scientists, like Seth Shostak from the SETI Institute, the fact that it never repeated is the most important part. Science is built on being able to reproduce results. Without a second data point, the WOW signal is just a frustrating anomaly, a fascinating but unproven ghost story. This just forces us back to that staggering thought. If our net is so incredibly small, and we manage to catch a fish this strange right at the very beginning of our search, what does that imply about the rest of the ocean? It suggests that maybe these kinds of events aren't that rare at all. We just don't have the resources to see them consistently. And that leaves us with a final, pretty provocative thought. Is the silence we perceive in the cosmos a true reflection of an empty universe? Or is it a reflection of our own limited perception, our fleeting attention, and a technology that has only just begun to listen? The answer? Well, it's still out there, waiting.